Hey, this is a follow-up to the What I Learned video. There's three more things I wanted to talk about YouTube. The first thing I want to talk about is uploads. Here's a few things on uploads. What interests me is about the hidden metadata. It's not the metadata that we know about, the title, the descriptions, and other things that we mark, and the categories that you can mark yourself. It's kind of that hidden metadata that's gathered on each video. I've been trying to coax that out of the system to try to have leak some of the information it tries to get. Well, under the hood, there's quite a bit of analysis that's done about the video. And I believe a lot of this occurs when it's doing the normal check, the copyright checks, it's trying to pick that stuff up. There's a lot of subgenres and topics that it picks up, and it's probably these have got to be in the hundreds. There's very nuanced. And this analysis affects the content of viewers that pull that content. Beyond this, there seems to be some quality analysis that kind of matches up people and places. This is where the people and the places, this is where sometimes this can trigger, using bigger name people and dropping those into your videos. That can really help out. Because a big YouTuber or somebody else, that they can kind of lift your video. Second thing I want to talk about is the pull system. This is one of the myths that I think gets kind of spread out. We kind of think that YouTube's going to not promote our video or promoting our video. Well, it's not really working that way. There's only one way that pushes videos in YouTube, and that is really the promotion system. So that's a whole nother thing. And I haven't explored much of the promotion system. There's definitely some people that have. You got to pay money, of course, to push that. And if you're just starting out, or like me, I'm probably not going to put anything into it. But the big thing here is that it is a poll system, and this has been confirmed with, you can see this video, and I'll put it in the description. This is from YouTube itself. And you can kind of see that they confirm that it is a poll system. It's kind of built on that metadata. And if you look at the top of your screen, on your home screen on YouTube, it'll show right at the very top that some of the metadata that's pulling, and you can kind of see those little subcategories of things that thinks you're interested in based on what you've watched. So it's really based on that kind of pushes it. And so in that sense, you're pulling it. So when users get onto the recommendation engines is going to pull the videos it thinks you're most interested in. It's also going to pull that along the side in the sidebar based on what you just watched. And so this really kind of affects the system. But it's not the subscriptions that puts it notifications in. It's what you watch is what puts notifications in. So subscribing is just kind of like a metric. Is a weird metric in a sense. It's more just like, great, you've subscribed, maybe you'll get some of their information, but once you stop watching their videos, they just stop watching them. They stop coming up and being recommended. So the description doesn't mean like I'm always going to see this stuff in my feed. Well, no, once you move off. And you can also, as I'm kind of poking around, you can end up definitely making your homepage garbage page where it's like nothing interests you, and it shows you the sheer volume that's in YouTube. Sometimes it gets so narrow that you kind of think, oh, these top people are the only people there, and that's just really not true. There's just millions. So you can definitely junk up your homepage and get it into a state where it's like nothing it's pulling is very interesting. So you kind of have to build it up. I think that's kind of interesting. So one thing here to note is they mention in the videos is each video is individually pulled, and that's what I've noticed as well. This is actually good because then it's like every video you post has a different poll to it, and they'll pull different things, and so one video might land on an audience and one video might not. But if you kind of build up a library, if you think about everything you're doing, if it's not getting any views, that's fine, as long as you're building a library. So when you do get a view, then you can kind of have something for them to watch next and kind of building that up. So that's why it's somewhat important to, even if you're not getting any views or you're getting very little views on your videos, just keep building that library, just build it up. And one of the cases in my thing you can look at would be my Marvel Bomb video. Well, what I made that for was because I wanted to see if I put in something that's very topically relevant. So I put it in right when it was very relevant, which is not right now per se, but when it was really relevant. There's a lot of other videos to pull on that topic from popular channels, So my video never got pulled because it's in a lot of competition and it's ranked so low, and nobody's watched my channel before, so they'll never pull it. They'll always pull some other one. Now, if you made a video that was fairly unique and then people were kind of searching for it and there was very little competition, then maybe it'll pull right up. And so that's something to keep in mind or to consider. So even doing something very relevant, but if you're a no-name channel, it's not going to pull. If you want to see more smaller channels like this one, you watch small channels. If you don't watch small channels, it'll always push something with big channels. And only those big channels are going to have the most vectors and the most audience, and it's going to be the ones that are always going to get pushed. But so if you want smaller channels, you want to see what's random things out there, start watching smaller channels. That'll start to kind of bring them in. All right. The last thing I want to talk about is the guru channels, the YouTube guru channels. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of channels just dedicated to try to help people out on YouTube. And these can both help and they can both and hurt in some ways. It's partly due to do this, don't do that type mentality in there. And that kind of starts to grate on your creativity. Because sometimes you just want to make stuff, and making stuff to make stuff doesn't always grow channels. And so they're pushing, most of the advice is pretty good. It's not like it's bad, but sometimes it's for bigger channels, sometimes it's for people in different states, so it might not apply much to your path. For me, sometimes you get too sucked into that loop and it really drains you, and it can drain the creativity and make you just like, well, why am I doing this in the first place? Then you need to ask these questions. Am I doing this to become popular? No, not for me. Was I seeking a fortune? No. I think it's hard to make a fortune on YouTube. I mean, it can happen. Not saying it doesn't. Obviously, we see a lot of those on a daily basis, but probably not. I'm a software engineer, so I'm okay with that. That's my chosen profession. I definitely like working with that, and hopefully do more software topics on this channel. The question I needed to answer is kind of what if. I needed to answer that for myself. I wanted to know what if. How far could I go on here? Could I pull it off? I feel like at this point, after a year or so doing this, I feel like, yeah, I kind of answered that question. Now I get to the next question. Is now what? Well, I'm just going to continue to make stuff. I feel like, there's still stuff I want to do. Yeah, I like to complete things. And I have some stones that I've left unturned, and I've got more experiments and things to learn, so for the time being, probably just going to continue on. But what about you? You ever wondered about these questions? What's your journey been like? Or have you started it at all? Thanks for watching, and good luck on all your endeavors as well.